Hello everyone, welcome to the 15th session of our course Internet Fundamentals and Web Tools. So today we are going to discuss more about web browsers. So this is our agenda. So I am going to touch base on whatever I have discussed in the previous session, and now in this session we are going to discuss about private browsing and navigation buttons and tabbed browsing. So what is private browsing and how can we hide it, how can we hide the history from being viewed by other people after our browsing session is over. So how to do that we will see, and navigation buttons, how we can navigate within the browser, like how can we go forward or backward, or once we navigated out, how can we go to a particular web page. So this is what is about navigation buttons and tabbed browsing. So within the same window, different more than one web page we can view within the same window. So how can we view that? So that is called tabbed browsing. So these are all the things that we are going to discuss today. Okay. So in the previous session we have discussed about web browsers, like what is a web browser and what are the common things about a web browser. So what are the common points that will be there in each web browser, and address bar, how to enter a URL in the address bar, and bookmarks. So bookmark, how to bookmark it, and history. So what is a web browser? So web browser is a client software which will connect to the web server and get us the information, right? And web interface. So what is a web interface? There is a particular interface to every web browser, but why we have discussed this web interface is there are some common points in each web interface or web browser. That they are some of them are like the title bar, address bar, and the menu items, and refresh button. So these are all the navigation buttons, back button, forward button, and there are some facilities called bookmarks and history. So these are the things that will be there in every browser. Okay. And private browsing. So today we are going to discuss about private browsing. So in our previous session we have introduced about private browsing, right? So this is called this is also called incognito mode or privacy mode. Private browsing is a privacy feature in some web browsers to disable browsing history and the web cache. This allows a person to browse the web without storing local data that could be retrieved at later date. So this privacy protection is only on the local computing devices, as it is still possible to identify frequented websites by associating the IP address at the web server. So this private browsing is also called incognito mode or privacy mode. In Google Chrome we will say it incognito mode or privacy mode. That means we are going to hide something. It is our private data that we are going to share with the web server, or it is our private website. Like we are going to access one website in this browsing session, and I don't want anybody to recognize this after my browsing session is over. Suppose now I entered something called rediff.com, and after 5 minutes after closing my browser window, somebody should not be able to identify or find out that VAMSI has browsed rediff.com or anything else. So this kind of feature, or rediff.com, in rediff.com I logged in with a user, I logged in with my user, and I don't want anybody to see it, or I don't want the browser to save any data about this particular session. So web server will save some data which is called cache, or it may be in the form of cookies also. Web browser will save some data in terms of cache. Cache is a memory. So just think it like this. So there is a memory attached to web browser. So web browser will store some data related to every particular site that is visited. Suppose I am visiting a particular website which is having a 5 MB of data. So 5 MB of data is very big in terms of loading a web page. So what the browser can do is it will cache that. That means it will store that 5 MB of data when it is loaded, and it will load the same data from the local computer itself instead of going to the web server again and again. So every time it will not go to the web server. So this is configurable. So like this there can be lot of data. So in this incognito mode we will restrict the browser to save any data. So once the browsing session is over, everything gets cleared, like no history, no no cookies, no caching, so all these things. And private browsing is also a privacy feature in some web browsers to disable browsing history and web cache. So this is what I have discussed. So this is a privacy feature in some web browsers. So right now most of the browsers are supporting, like whatever the browsers that we are commonly using, like Internet Explorer, Chrome, Opera, or Apple Safari. So almost every browser is supporting this feature. This allows a person to browse the web without storing local data that could be retrieved at later date. So if the browser can save some data, browser is in our example, browser saved a file of 5 MB. So it will restrict the browser to save the data that can be retrieved at later point of time. So suppose right now we are viewing youtube.com. So in youtube.com we can see some videos. So those videos browser will try to buffer the data. So once we start the video in YouTube, it will start downloading from internet and it will buffer the data and it will show the data to the user. So while doing this, if you are seeing the same video again and again, there can be a chance that browser saves some data about that particular video. So we will restrict it. So if that is saved in the computer, even if that is not viewed by us, in some directory, some folder, browser will save it, and that can be retrieved at later date. So if somebody can go to the directory directly and then can retrieve it, but with private browsing we will restrict that. Okay. The privacy protection is only on the local computing device. As it is still possible to identify frequented websites by associating the IP address at the web server. So what this means is the privacy protection. So it is the browser's feature, it is not the web server's feature. So browser's feature means browser will support private browsing, but not the web server. So whoever accesses a particular website in the browser, we can delete all those things with private browsing, but not at the web server. Suppose we requested rediff.com, even though the other person, like after 5 minutes, whoever is browsing, he may not be knowing that I browsed rediff.com, but the rediff.com server will know that somebody from this IP address has accessed it at this particular time. So with that IP address, we can easily find out the computer. So we can restrict it only from the client side, but not from the server side. Server will not know that this guy is doing a private browsing, I should not save this data. So this kind of behavior is not there in the web server side. So frequented websites by associating the IP address at the web server. So if we associate this IP address at the web server, we will easily identify that particular website, particular client has access to this particular data in this web server. So this is all we can identify. And so how do we do private browsing? So let us do a practice. So in the Internet Explorer, we can have so the diagram depicts here how to open private browsing. So we will just here as we can see, there is a tools icon here. When we click this tools icon, one drop down came, and in that there is a button called safety, or there is an item called safety. If we go to safety, there is something called in private browsing and Control Shift P. Okay, we will see this in the Internet Explorer now. Okay. So how do we open Internet Explorer? We have to go to start menu and type Internet Explorer. Just click on it, it will open. So yesterday we have seen that if we access any website in the Internet Explorer, it will be saved in the history. So now we will see, we will start private browsing and see if it is being saved in the private browsing data or not. So there is a button called safety here. When I click safety, directly then option came that in private browsing, or otherwise we can go to the tools and so directly from menu we can open a private browsing session. So this is private browsing. In under tools there is a option for private browsing, which is Control Shift P, or we can just simply if we can press Control Shift P, it will directly open. Okay. Now I am opening a private browsing session. So as you can see, it is it said something about when in private browsing is turned on. When in private browsing, so in private browsing is the term for doing the incognito mode in Internet Explorer. Okay. When in private browsing is turned on, you will see this indicator. So this is the indicator. That means here you can see in the title bar that in private. So this is where we are showing in private. I mean the Internet Explorer is showing in private. Just please observe my mouse pointer is moving. Okay. So, here earlier it was about blank and now it is about in private. So, I am going to access one website. So, I am just closing this in private browsing window and I will access one website here, and then I am going to I am going to start in private browsing session, and I am going to open another website in private browsing and see what is the difference and what is being saved in the history. Okay. So, here I am opening a website called rediff.com. So, this rediff.com is being opened, and this is a usual website. So, if we go to the favorites and history and view by order visited today, the first one is rediff.com. Okay. Then now I am going to start private browsing by go to safety and in private browsing. So, here I am going to access one more website called cprogramming.com. So, http://www. So, it is a good practice to type http://www even if we know only that is the default one, because there are some websites which will support secured browsing with HTTPS, and there are some, when we are in a private network, there can be www may not be available. Okay. So, when we access this, it is going to cprogramming.com. So, this is just like the normal window where we are accessing cprogramming.com. It is loaded, and usually whenever we access some website, it will be saved in the history. That is what we have seen, but let us see the history now. Favorites, history, still it is showing rediff.com. Let us see if it is, I will close this and I am going to the normal private browsing session. Then if I see, still it is rediff.com only. So, I am closing this Internet Explorer, opening it again, and will start cprogramming.com again. Let us see in a normal programming normal window, not a in private window. So, it is open. So, does not matter if it opens or not, but it is accessed. Okay. If I go to favorites, you can see here the cprogramming.com is the top. That means the private browsing, when we are in private browsing, it is not able to save the history. So, we are preventing the browser to save the history, preventing the browser to save our URL in the history. So, this is in Internet Explorer. So, we will see in Google Chrome. So, the Google Chrome is right now here available. So, now I am going to click Ctrl+Shift+P, which is for entering private browsing. Sorry. That is in Internet Explorer, but here it is Ctrl+Shift+N. So, this is the menu in Google Chrome and new incognito window you can see. So, I am pressing this. So, see here you have gone incognito. This message have appeared. Pages that view in incognito tabs won't stick around in your browser history, cookie store or search history after you close all your incognito tabs. So, once we close all incognito tabs, it is saying that it will not be saved, the history or cookie, the browser history will not be saved in the history or cookie store or in the search history, right. However, you are not invisible. That means we are just doing incognito window, but you do not think that you are invisible, but you are definitely visible to somebody. Google Incognito does not hide your browsing in from your employer, your internet service provider or the websites you visit. So, this is what the point that we have discussed in the in the slide. So, even we are in private browsing or incognito mode, it does not hide the browsing history from your employer. That means, if you are in a private network or any office network, your employer or the network administrator will definitely know what website you are accessing, and your internet service provider, definitely we are making use of the internet connection from internet service provider. So, he will also be able to see the website that we are going to access, or whatever the data that we are going to access from this window, or the websites you visit. So, the website will also know that website, that means the web server will also know who is visiting that particular website. Okay. So, now we are let us access one website which is cprogramming.com. Yesterday we have saved one bookmark. So, that is right here. I am just clicking it. So, cprogramming.com is open. Okay. And let me close this, and then in normal window let me go to history. There is a history here. Just open history. Today there is no cprogramming.com opened. There are different websites which are not at all relevant. So, here if I open another website called Rediff. So, the website is open. Again I am going to history. See, the very first one is rediff.com. So, this is how the private browsing works. However, this private browsing only it will not save the history and cookies, but it can save whatever the data that is downloaded. Suppose we have downloaded some data, we copied a file from website and stored in the local server, then it will not be able to delete that data, but it will delete the downloads history. Okay. So, suppose we downloaded some file, any image or any video we downloaded. So, that video will not be deleted. So, we already saved it in some directory called downloads directory or somewhere else, right. So, it will not delete that particular video, but it will delete the downloads history. So, whatever we have downloaded, all those list of files we have downloaded will be saved in the history. So, that thing will be deleted. Okay. And then let us move to navigation buttons. So, how to navigate within the browser window, like how to go forward, how to go backward. So, to navigate from one page to another page, we use navigation buttons. So, these buttons are back button, forward button, refresh button, stop and home page. So, let us go through one by one and see what is the significance of each button and each functionality, right. So, these are the buttons that you can see. You can see here in Internet Explorer. So, this is related to Internet Explorer. So, we will see Chrome or Firefox also if possible, but we will see definitely Chrome, right. This is the back button where it will take us back to the previous page. This is the forward button, and this is refresh, and this is stop button. This is the home button, this is print, and this is the favorites center, and this is add to favorites icon. So, these favorites we have seen, and there is no button for history. So, these are all the buttons that we are having in Internet Explorer. Let us go to the back and forward buttons. So, what is the functionality of this back button and forward button we are going to see now. The back button is used to navigate to the previously accessed web page in the same window. So, the shortcut is Alt left arrow. So, we can also go to menu, from menu view and go to back. So, this is what is back button, and forward button is used to navigate to the web page in case if we have accessed some web page previously and navigated back with back button. So, okay, we will go to the next point and then we will explain everything together. Okay. Forward button will be inactive if we have not used back button to navigate to the web page. Alt right is the Alt right arrow is the shortcut key for this. Also, we can go to menu view, go to forward. Okay. And we will just practice these two buttons in Internet Explorer and also Chrome. Okay. So, back button is used to navigate to the previously accessed web page in the same window. That means we have accessed something. Right now we accessed rediff.com and cprogramming.com. Suppose in cprogramming.com we clicked something and we navigated away. So, but how do we go back to cprogramming.com again, or there is a website which is showing some data. Suppose let us say our friend has opened one website which is very useful, or some tutorial which is very useful for our course. So he opened it and we are trying to navigate it, and we clicked something and moved away from that website, and we don't know what is the URL of that website our friend has opened. So what do we do? How do we go back? Is by using the back button, or we can use the shortcut keys also. So the forward button is used to navigate the web page in case if you have accessed some web page previously and navigated back with back button. Suppose we are accessing some data, and we have navigated to some other window. So backward is coming back to the previous page. So forward cannot be like it is not like what we will be accessing in future. It is not like that. So whatever we have accessed, we came back and again we can go forward. So that is the meaning of forward. It is not the page that we are going to access in future. The computer will not, computer or the browser will not calculate our astrology and okay, this is the web page that you are going to open next. So that it is not the case. Okay. So it is only with if you have used back button earlier, then you can go forward. Okay. Forward button will be inactive if we have not used back button to navigate to the web page. Suppose right now we have opened a website and we did not press back button, then in that case forward button will be inactive. Okay. The shortcuts we can see here, and let us see what is the forward button and backward button in the Internet Explorer first, and then we will see it in Chrome. So open Internet Explorer, and if we can see it on the computer monitor that I am going to open a website. If you see computer monitor, yeah, I am opening a website called rediff.com, www.rediff.com. So okay, rediff.com is open. If you see here, the back button is inactive and forward button is inactive. That means we cannot go back because there is no other website opened before this, and we cannot go forward because we did not come back, right. Now I am going to open another thing called www.cprogramming.com. So this page is open. Now you can see the back button is active, and if I hover the mouse here, it is saying back to rediff.com. So this is the title of the page which we have accessed previously, and there is an icon here. If I click this, or if I hover to it, it will say recent pages. So what are the most recent pages that we have accessed? Suppose from here again I am going to access another web page, that is yahoo.com. Let's just wait for it to load once. You can see in the status bar what is happening. Okay. So one item remaining, download pictures. So this is all will be downloading. So total how many pages we have accessed? First we navigated to rediff.com, and then we moved to cprogramming.com, and in the same window we navigated to yahoo.com. Okay. Now if I hover my mouse to back button, then it is saying back to cprogramming.com and the title. So this is the title of the page, cprogramming.com. The title is cprogramming.com learn C and C++ programming -cprogramming.com, and it is also showing the shortcut alt left arrow. Alt left means left arrow. Okay. I am clicking this back button now. So we are navigating to cprogramming.com, and as you see this, now the forward button became active. That means once we have to use the back button to make the forward button active. So now we can go to forward button. When I click forward button, it should go to yahoo.com now. You can see that it loaded yahoo.com, and there is a inverted drop down menu, inverted triangle shape here, which is a drop down menu. If If I hover my mouse, it is saying, it was showing recent pages. Now if I click, let us see what it will show. So very recent page is yahoo.com, which is the present one, and the earlier page was cprogramming.com, and before that we accessed Rediff. So if we want to jump 2 steps, we do not have to go to we do not have to click the back button twice. If I just click this, it will go to rediff.com. Again, what is this is the current page, and these two are the things which are accessed recently. So when I move to rediff.com, see the back button again became inactive and forward buttons are active. That means there is no other page which is accessed even before rediff.com. That means we came at the wherever we have started. So this is about back button and forward button. Similarly, let me open Chrome, start and Chrome. Then here also I am accessing same rediff.com. So here there is no let me close and open again, so that let us see the buttons now. Initially back button is inactive and forward button is inactive. It is saying click to go back, hold to see the history. So if I hold it, then it will show the history, or click to go forward, hold to see the history. So now both the buttons are inactive, so we cannot see anything because we have not accessed anything. Now I am going to rediff.com. Rediff.com is open now. When you, as you see, the back button became active, but we have not accessed any page previously. Let us see what is there in the back button. This is a blank page. So Google Chrome by default opens up a Google window. So this is the Google search window which is open by default. So when I say rediff.com, it immediately activated the back button, but forward button was still not active because we did not navigate back. Now I am going to again cprogramming.com. So cprogramming.com is a useful website for learning C and C++ programming. Okay. And from here again I am going to yahoo.com. Still you can see the forward button is not active because we did not navigate back. Now I am pressing back button to go back. When if I press, so what it was showing, what it was saying, click to go back. So here you may not be able to see on the screen, but I will read out. If I hover my mouse here, it is saying click to go back, hold to see the history. So we need to click it to go back. That means if I click, it went back. Then hold to see the history. So if I hold on this, the mouse button, if I just click and hold on it, then it is showing the history, so that we can go back to whatever the page we want, right. And you see, once we came back, the forward button became active. So I am clicking the forward button so that it moves forward. So this is the functionality of back button or forward button. Let me open it and show you the shortcut keys also. Even my mouse is here, I am not clicking any button, I am just going to rediff.com, then going to cprogramming.com. If I say alt or left arrow, it will go back to Rediff, alt right arrow, it will go back to cprogramming.com, or we can go to menu also. You press now we are not able to see any menu. So yesterday, as we have seen, if I right click on this, then all the options came. I am clicking on the menu bar so that we can see the menu bar, or if we just press alt, then it will show the menu bar. Okay. And here we can go to edit, we will need to go to view, go to back or forward. So these two buttons are available in the view, go to. So view, go to, back, like that, view, go to, forward, will navigate us back, navigate us to cprogramming.com, which we have accessed previously. And similarly, so we have this option, we have every option in the menu, but whatever the options that we need to use frequently will be available in the form of buttons, like favorites is one we will be using every day, and back button and forward button are the things that we use every day. So, these are the things which will be available to us in the form of buttons. Okay. And then now we are going to see few more navigation buttons. So, refresh and stop button. Refresh is used to reload the web page. This will usually send the request to the server again to load the page. So, stop will stop loading the web page. All ongoing requests from the browser will be stopped. So, we will practice refresh and refresh with a remote web page and also a local web page. Okay. Also we will practice stop button also. Okay. So, now refresh is used to reload the web page. That means we loaded a web page and we would like to refresh it. Means right now it might not have downloaded properly, or when during the when we are opening the web page might not be the network might not be fully available, or there is a packet loss in the network, so that our so that we do not get the full web page, we did not get the full web page, or the web page is not rendered properly on the on our browser. So, we would like to refresh it. So, we want to reload the page again from the web server. So, it will send another request to the web server to the same web server whatever we accessed, and will load the page. Okay. This usually will send the request to the server again and load the page. Okay. That is what we have discussed. So, it will send the request again to the web server, and stop will stop loading of the page. Right now we opened a web page, and we would like to we do not want it to load anything more because of various reasons, or we want to load another web page, but this web page is not allowing that web page to load. So, we want to stop wherever this web page is loaded. So, this web page or this web page is very large web page, by accidentally we opened, we would like to stop it. So, by clicking stop button we can stop the web page. All ongoing requests from the browser will be stopped. So, whatever the requests that are going through when clicking the stop, everything will be stopped. Okay. And let us see these two buttons, and we will see the refresh first with a local page and a remote page also. Okay. So, now let us create a page. I am going to open a so, if you remember, these two are the files that we have created earlier. So, now if we can open this page in the browser, because it is a HTML document. In the Internet Explorer, if I go to file, and there is an option for open or Control O. So, Internet Explorer also can be used to open and view the HTML files. So, I am clicking open, and to open it we have to click browse, go to the location and open index.html. So, this is the page that we have opened. Hello, this is HTML, this is a home page. So, this is what we have opened. This one we created while discussing about the home page, what is a home page of a website and what is index.html. So, when discussing these things we opened this. Right now we have created this page for some purpose, right, and we would like to change this page. Now, let me open it with Notepad. This page look like this, and I am going to say here hello, I am going to say welcome to Internet Fundamentals course. I am saving it here by file save. So, it is saved. Now, if I navigate back to the browser, it is still showing hello, this is home page. So, what is this? Like I changed the page there, but it is not open, it already open, and it is not able to show the content which is changed. So, what we will do? We will click the refresh button. So, this is the refresh button in the so wherever my mouse is there, just if you look at it, it is showing the refresh button. So, when I hover the mouse there is a tool tip, we will call these things. So, there is a tool tip which is refresh, in braces it is F5. So, if I refresh, then it is showing now, hello, welcome to the Internet Fundamentals course. That means it went to the file again and read that file, opened it here and is being shown. Okay. So, even if I press F5, it will be same. So, when I refreshed, just check the status bar here. So, it is trying to open the page again here where the my mouse is there, just observe that, okay, in the bottom of the screen, bottom of the browser window. Now, I am going to open one web page, our regular web page like cprogramming.com. programming.com. So, I am going to put http://www. Now, it is opening. Now, it is showing something here, right, cprogramming.com, etc., 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 everything it is being shown. Now, I think I want to reload it. So, I want to send the request again, because if you see the status bar here, it is done, but with some errors on the page. Right now, I want to see if it can be rectified. So, if I refresh or re-request the same web page from the server, it might be rectified. I mean, the errors might go away. So, what I am going to do is I am going to click this refresh button, so that if you see the browser window, the status bar, it is trying to connect, it is sending the requests and showing, right. Again it is showing the error on page, but you can see there is an advertisement on the top which was not loaded earlier, now it is loaded properly. So, this is the functionality of the refresh button. Now, we will see what is the functionality of stop button. So, whatever that we are going, so we right now cprogramming.com took few seconds, like 2-3 seconds to load or 5 seconds to load, because of it is depending on the network speed or internet speed, it loaded in 1 to 5 seconds, right. So, within these 1 to 5 seconds, if we click stop button, we will see what is going to happen. So, again I am going to let me close the page and then open www.cprogramming.com. So, now I am going to click stop button, stopped. See, earlier after loading the cprogramming.com logo, it was loading all the web page. If you see the status, it is blank, nothing is there, and it is not even loading any tutorial. So, earlier there is a lot of information, but now there is no information, because we stopped the web page to load. So, it stopped all the requests. So, so now what I can do is I can go and refresh, so that it will send the request again and will try to load. You can see there is an icon here which is, this is the loading symbol, and it is being loaded. Now, if you see the page is loaded properly. So, again I will try to refresh and stop. Again I clicked stop and nothing was active. So, everything got stopped, all the requests got stopped. Okay. So, we will see the same thing in Google Chrome also. I opened Google Chrome and cprogramming.com I am opening, and I click, it is opening. If I say stop, it will stop. So, see, it did not load the advertisement on the top or anything here, it was nothing was there, it loaded a partial page. Now, I can refresh it. If you see here in Chrome, there is only one button which is for a refresh or stop. Usually when we are loading some page, we will try to stop it, but not will refresh it. So, when the page stops loading, then we will try to refresh. That is why to have more space for address bar and less, Google Chrome is made in such a way that there is only one place for stop and refresh buttons. That button will be changed to stop when it is when the page is loading, it will be stop button. When the page stops loading, then it will be refresh button. Now it became refresh button. So I am clicking this refresh button. So before it loads, I clicked stop. So it loaded some data. If you see here, there is some menu or the table of contents loaded, but the actual content was not loaded. Only the partial page is loaded. When I click refresh, again it will send another request to the web server and will try to load the entire data here. Okay. This for instead of stop, we can press escape button also. Right now I am sending the request from web browser and I will press escape without using mouse. Escape, stopped. So as soon as I press escape, it will give a stop command to everything. So it will invalidate all the active requests and will stop everything to load. This is what is the functionality of stop and refresh button. So in this session we have seen some of the what is called private browsing and some navigation buttons like back button, forward button, refresh button and stop button. So next we will see about what is a home page and what is called tabbed browsing, and then we will go to something called session cookies and cache. So which is browser will store some data which is called cookies and cache. So those things we are going to see in the next session. In that is in 16th session we will see. Thank you for watching.